And at this time of the recording of the program, not a game show, yo. I, Volothamp Modulus Tautology, aka Chucky Biblical, am sitting here chilling in my chair, thinking about what to say. It's funny because I can script it, but I'd rather freestyle and give it to you raw from the dome. That's where the knowledge come from. Um, Honesty, that's what goes in the heart. And courage in the form of strength, that's the body. Now, where am I going with this? So, I'm where I've always been going. I used to start it off every show with it. Is hip hop is an American culture created by the children of the 1960s civilization rights movement. We used to just say civil rights movement, but hip hop is one of the ancient civilizations being reborn. And we are the children recreating it. Does that make us we are a culture, but does that make us a community? Yes, it does. Does it make us a genre? And you see, rap is something we do. Hip hop, that's that life. That's what we live. And we're not selfish. We sacrifice. We do. We really do. We're selfless in letting anybody really be a part of our culture. Where it gets hypocritical is those that come in and claim to be our culture or claim to be a part of our community, and they breaking the laws. Like, nah, that's illegal right there. That ain't part of our culture. We follow the Ten Commandments. Yeah, we do have people that disobey the Ten Commandments, and we usually, hey, nah, that ain't the culture. What are you doing, right? And we kindly ask them to leave the party. At least the party that I'll be hosting. If I'm hosting a party, Umar's invited because Umar's funny to me. You know what I mean? I can have cool conversations with Umar. Mark Lamar Hill, nah, he smells like something. He smells fishy. I don't mess with Mark Lamar Hill. Therein is where people get upset with me. It's like you can't exclude. No. If it's my party, I can exclude who I want. That's actually the written text. That's actually in the biblical. But now people want to argue, debate that I might look at you too. Like if y'all together, you with Mark? All right, see you later. But hey, take him home or whatever. And I'm not lying on just to make fight and argue with Mark Lamar Hill. I already told y'all how I felt about him. It's just I'm gonna share a little bit of sober today, or I think Sabby today. And when after I share it, like that's my only critique is I see her having him on her platform, and it's like. Poor a boo, watch that snake. That's all. I'm just trying to help her understand. Some ain't cool, right? They just ain't cool, and watch your back. Now that's where the hypocritical usually goes in and say things like Joe Biden said. I'm not going to fight hate with hate, and then the first thing to come out of his mouth. He actually said it before he said that, right? That's why it was funny during the Black Caucus, the leaked tapes from the Black Caucus that got out there, right? First thing he said, I said I called him a racist in front of the world, like that was the first thing he said, and then he said, but I'm not gonna fight hate with hate. I said, oh, this hypocrite right here, right? And there it is, And then this, you're doing the same thing. Is nah, not really. I already said these things before. I already shared this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. My goal is to help everyone achieve freedom, justice, and equality. It is not equivalent to that diversity, equity, inclusion. That's That's what I'm trying to let y'all understand. You know. So I'm sitting here in the library. Well, I'm still building the library, but this is another chamber in the 36 that we actually don't have 36. How many chambers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can say 9. I can say I got 9 chambers in my castle. Let me do that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, only 8. 9, 9. Yeah, I can make 9. Some my 9 chambers of you know what I mean. That's what I got. I only got 9. I ain't got 36, right? And 9 goes into 36. How many times? Well, we'll figure all that out later, right? So earth, air, fire, and water, right? That's 4, huh? But there it is. There it is. I'm just playing around with y'all and what this program came after the Switch 2. Like, so I just gave y'all a little bit of time. 2 days ago they announced the Switch, but they didn't announce. They did a little demo. Nintendo did a demo. So now the gaming community is excited because hey, we see it and we know what it is and we're ready to go get it. I'm of the ilk. I'm perfectly fine with my Switch OLED. In fact, that's what I'm kind of coaching my son. Hey, get it, get a Switch OLED first, and then we'll save up, and we'll get a Switch 2 together in about 2 years or whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll do the mathematics as we build our quote unquote radio station, our whatever this is, our podcast together. Because he already did his little reaction video. I was a part of it. I'm glad to have been a part of that on the Switch 2. I'll share that in the comments section. I think I'm gonna put this more on Facebook, but I might share this to YouTube too. So, well, I'm gonna say fair use now. Like I'm gonna use Detroit HP. I'm not gonna use. Well, I got his screen up right now. Is Mr. C's. I just wanted to give him a shout out. I'll share his thing in the comments section so y'all can check his quote unquote review, because he did bring up something different, and so did Rob of 2 Review, and then RGT. I listened to him a little bit. I seen Spawn Wave throw in his 2 cents. I didn't doubt Nate the Hate. I figured it was just going to be a little quick tech demo or a little commercial and keep it rolling, That's Nintendo style. And then on April 2nd, that's when we'll get a more formal direct, and we'll get a little better idea of what this thing can and can't do and what else to expect in the future. I don't think that Mario Kart's coming out until 2025, 2026, because it looks ambitious. It looks like it's going to be all that. It has to go online, so it's going to be a nice race between a lot of people online, and therein is where they really kind of tipping their hat to the infrastructure that they're building for the internet. So it might be an early ad, it might come out early, but they're not going to. Arlo already said 20 million Switch 2s, but then it's like, all right, 20 million Mario Karts by then that fast. We'll see. It would be like the number 1 game. So you are going to have a lot of racers, and being able to handle that online is going to kind of make, they can even boost up the price for the what's the name, but they'll figure all that out, But there it is. I mean, that's what we're investing in, is the Nintendo's network. So shout out to them, and I'm looking forward to it. But I got patience. I'm playing a lot of my classic games to catch up still. I'm gonna play a little bit of Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. That's what you're hearing in the background. My Wii U still running, and I'll run those videos for you of more adult content, because that's where I am, as far as hip hop, I am a Generation X kid. That's, the 1960s and 1970s is Generation X. And that's what I've been kind of reiterating. Everybody wants to say Barack Obama is a baby boomer, but no, Barack, I'm sorry, Barack, you're Generation X. All right, yeah, you got me about 10 years, but you're already proven that you're not elder to me, right? You are elder to the Gen Y's, Z's, and A's, or whatever letters or numbers we want to come up with. All these next the Star Trek generation, I like to call them, right? Because Star Wars is the past, Star Trek is the future, right? That's how Lucas wrote it, and Gene Roddenberry. That's how they wrote their stories. George Lucas started his movies off, the very, very first Star Wars, with a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, right? And Gene Roddenberry has always been, hey, let's look towards the future, So one is more science fantasy, and the other one is more science fiction. So, or prophecy, or uh, whatever colloquialisms we want to try to use, because that's all they doing that now anyway. They, as soon as you say black, and they say, oh, that's a radical, or if I say white, oh, that's a radical, right? And one is left and one is right, and it's, like, nah, we ain't caught up in that game no more. That's where I am in this whole thing. Yeah, I am hip hop. I'm hip hop culture. That's my culture. And I'm, hip hop has a community, and the gaming has a community, and there's an overlap, and that overlap is all love. So shout out to all of my gamers out there, and content creators, and what I mean. Our beef, we don't have beef with each other, and therein is where my topic has been hardware versus software. So the Switch 2 is the new hardware coming out, and we already have a lot of software to play on it. But I'm still playing on my first Switch, my Switch 1. When can we officially call it the Switch 1? Right? I have the OLED version. So I think I'm going to start calling the Switch 01. It's Switch 1, not the OLED, right? And there it is. So let me get my screen up real quick. You see how I can do that? And then you see I got the commercial still running about the new Switch 2 on top of that. We showing advancements here. We trying to show some advancements. So yeah, I am showing off a little bit on the new program that I'm using, and then wait till I can't wait to figure, I'm planning and figuring out new ways to use it with StreamYards when I get that back up and running. And me and my son start racing some of the other kids in the original Mario Kart, as we get our skills together, for this great big tournament that we're going to be able to put together come, when everybody can get a Switch 2, which is not going to be an issue. I mean, this is they projecting $450 to $500 for this thing, $400 to $500. I got to put that lower price on it because the AI can hear us the prices, and it's like, oh, he's willing to play $450. No. I said $400 AI. Don't go any higher, right? Because if y'all not gonna drop the price of the OLED to 300, from 350 to 300, y'all not helping. This new static pricing, like why are eggs still $7 a Biden? Yeah, we got to get him out. I can't wait till he get out of office. There's no competition. He didn't got the nerve to say his price gouging. Like, we don't understand that economics is the art of making the most out of life, and that's what he's doing. He's making the most cash out of us, and it's really taking its toll on us. So we get it. That's why I don't see nobody sad that we changing the chapter except for Michelle Obama. But we'll get to that right now, because I'm going to share a little bit of Detroit HD. Let me get his right name and everything. Um, as I play a little bit of Breath of the Wild on my Wii U, which is my favorite system of all time. Um, yeah, the OLED is close, but it ain't messing with the me and my son first uh, system together. So Detroit HP TV, and I'm gonna share a link in the description. This is fair use under the U.S. Statute whatever thing, and I mean I don't care if he copyrights it. I'm gonna share it and tag him in it. And if I share this to YouTube, I'm definitely gonna put it on Facebook, and I think I'm gonna put it on YouTube too, just to give shout outs to, because these are the people that I actually watch also on top of my gaming people. Like I already said a couple of their names, and Mrs. T is one of them. Arlo's another one. There's too many to list. Zach, I don't watch Zach Scott anymore. I don't even watch Nate the Hate, but I do. I have seen a couple of his videos. Who else is on there? I already mentioned them, and it is a network. You know what I mean? And I'm getting to follow and watch more of them. The more you watch, the more you'll see different links of the different people. The same goes with Gen Xers like myself, who are more into. I don't like saying the politics, because that's what they're trying to sell it as. It's just what we're trying to do and build as foundational Black Americans. That's really what it is. It is. We are the founders of the microphone check, and that's the culture. That's the hip hop culture there. That's not to exclude the islands, the Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, the U.S. Virgin Islands. You know what I mean? They're Americans. Not excluding Mexico. It's just you have to have proper paperwork in order to be in the United States of America. I don't need such paperwork because my lineage has been here before everyone. That's where foundational Black Americans are about to celebrate 500 years of war against the colonizers that allegedly came in 1492. But 1526 marks a date of one of the first revolutions against it, and therein is what Mr. T was talking about. See how I jump around when I start talking about hip hop and history. Mr. T compared the Nintendo hardware as revolutionary versus evolutionary, and he's right on point with it. Like the original NES was revolutionary, the Super NES was evolutionary. And Nintendo 64 was revolutionary. The GameCube was evolutionary. Then the Wii was revolutionary, and then the Wii U was evolutionary. So the next revolution was the Switch. So now we're about to experience another evolution in Nintendo hardware, and usually doesn't do as well. But I think it is meant to just, hey, it is a Switch also, too, TOO, in my opinion. So it should just be added on to the amount of Switch sales. So we're looking at the all-time selling handheld video game system of all time, and it is a summation of every Nintendo hardware the hardware ever existed. Yes, they use emulators to simulate those old hardware that are all the ones that I listed up to this point. But therein is the point. Like, Nintendo says we own all of that, and they're constantly fighting to hold on to their ROMs and to slow down the emulators, which is another form of software, so that any hardware can run their ROMs, their software. So there it is. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I know I might have lost a lot of people that's not really tech savvy or hardware versus software savvy. But I did wanted to add how it changed revolution to evolution, and what the meanings was behind that when we as gamers start spitting our colloquialisms. It's not rhetoric. It's real MCing is what we do. But that's one community. That's the gaming community versus the hip hop community. But it's not versus. It's things that we share in common. All right. So I'm gonna run this video, and this is like again, this is Detroit HP about to share with y'all some of his political views. I'm gonna run two of his and then one of Selby, and then I'm out. Okay. So and then I'll play a little bit of Breath of the Wild in the background while it plays. Okay. So bear with me for a second. Check out the video. Hit like, subscribe, share. I keep all my content PG-13, so this is okay for the children to watch. But I am presenting it so that we start to get an understanding of when we have people saying that we are that foundational Black Americans are Black radicals. They're the actual culture vultures. They're the actual hypocrites. They're the actual fake leftist, liberated, democratic thinkers that they act like they helping the free, but they trying to enslave more so than the quote unquote white superiority, white supremacy, white what's the other thing that they like to say all the time? White what's that word that they use? It's a lame word too. Privilege, white privilege. Like they like to use terms like that, but what they're really trying to promote is Black inferiority. They want us to be inferior. So it's in fear. They promote fear so that we won't say anything. But darn it, we are Americans. We are more Americans than white Americans, right? So that First Amendment definitely. Freedom of speech. That's our MO. That's why hip hop is what it is today, son. So we about to shine like one. Did I sound like a radio host just now? I'm gonna give some turntables and I'm gonna really get back to my spinning, because that's what I used to do. That's why I kind of do my format as like a radio more so than putting my grill all up in your face and showing off my handsomeness. But there it is. This is Volathan Modulus Tautology. About to share some dope knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Help y'all achieve freedom, justice, and equality, so that we can all achieve that. You know what I mean? We ain't here to bow down to no diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially when they the main ones oppressing people. There it is. And you say, be right back.
All right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Back with another video on this Wednesday afternoon. Listen, we got to talk about it. Let's talk about, I got a couple topics. One topic is how these immigrants are protesting leaving. They're saying, oh, we're not going nowhere. But let's also talk about Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama sends out a report that she's not going to attend the inauguration. Okay, she gets a lot of cheers from the left. Go, sister, show your strength, or what that's supposed to be. She also didn't go to Jimmy Carter's funeral with Barack. Is it really because she can't stand to be in the same room with Donald Trump? Now, her husband, Barack Obama, is a career politician. That's why you see him sitting next to Trump, laughing and joking. And the left is mad because Barack was friendly toward Donald Trump. Even though Barack Obama served as president for 8 years, and all the living presidents were there with their wives. It was protocol. Mike Pence's wife, She didn't want to be there. She didn't want to shake Trump's hand or whatever because she felt that Trump was hostile toward Mike Pence. Hillary and Bill was there. And everybody knows Hillary can't stand Donald Trump. And he can't stand her. Melania was there. Kamala was there with her husband. Michelle said she wasn't going to show obstinate defiance to the president-elect. Even though it was Jimmy Carter's funeral. It wasn't about Trump. It was about the passing away of Jimmy Carter, a Democratic president who passed away at 100 years old. Then she releases the photo of her at Hawaii. Okay, you having fun. Sister girl stuff, right? Sister magic. Then she releases a report that she's not going to go to the inauguration either with Barack. Is she really disrespecting Donald Trump or showing defiance to Donald Trump? Or is she disrespecting her husband? Is she defying Barack? Because if they're on the same page, then why didn't Barack stay home with her? If they're on the same page, why didn't she go with Barack? A united front. Women that love their husbands, they stand with their husbands in the face of adversity, in the face of enemies, in uncomfortable situations, because they are a united front, a husband and his wife. How many of you women out there really would allow your husband to go to an event like that by himself and follow protocol, and you deliberately don't go, and the topic be about you not going? Is she disrespecting Trump or is she disrespecting Barack? Is she making Trump look weak or is she making Barack look weak? See, a lot of you out there will say, she don't have to go nowhere. She don't have to do nothing. Trump is this and Trump is that. What does that have to do with her husband? What does that have to do with protocol? What does that have to do with the presidency? What did it have to do with Jimmy Carter's funeral? So who is she disrespecting? Donald Trump? Is Michelle really disrespecting Donald Trump? Because Barack sat there, laughed and talked with Trump as a politician, knowing he campaigned for Kamala Harris, knowing his wife campaigned for Kamala Harris. He accepts the defeat in the election. And Michelle doesn't stand with him. So what are we supposed to assume? That Barack has less integrity than Michelle? That Barack Obama is weaker than Michelle? That Michelle is like Medea? She's the backbone of the Obama family? I watched a video where it was a guy in the military and he was talking about how black women are perceived in other countries. Now, you may not care how Hollywood has portrayed you in the movies and music and, you know, the twerking and the different things they show in media. But the whole world looks and they notice because it's the story now. Michelle Obama didn't go to Jimmy Carter's funeral. Michelle Obama let everybody know she won't be attending the inauguration. Michelle Obama will not be standing with Barack. Does Barack Obama have less integrity than Michelle? Is Barack Obama weaker than Michelle? Because Barack Obama went and showed his presence and paid respect to Jimmy Carter, a president who lived to be 100 years old, who was a Democrat. What do you take from this? Because the whole world is watching. And the people on the left, they want to show some type of hollow victory, which is virtual signaling, the so-called moral high road. But how many of you women wouldn't stand with your man, your husband, the father of your children, one of the most powerful men in the world? Would you actually make it about you? Releasing pictures of you in Hawaii on vacation while the country is paying respect to a fallen president? So I know a lot of you want to be so-called radical, so-called woke, so-called conscious, that you don't understand protocol. You don't understand diplomacy.
We all
My bad, my bad. And yeah. That was part one. I'm about to share part two with y'all. Yeah, that was funny. I'm getting electrocuted by lightning bolts. I'm out of practice. I haven't played this game in a while. Yeah, I'm sharing Detroit because yeah, I mean, all I can do is say, hey, man, I'm feeling what he's saying, right? Like, I'm gonna share part two to that, and then I'm gonna share some Selby too. How much time I put in so far? Let's see here. Oh, it's already been a half hour. I'm moving a little too slow. Let me get right into it, and I hope y'all enjoying this little presentation that I'm I cut and pasted together real quick as I try to figure out how not to die fighting these mobs and getting the right gear in order. So this is Volathan Modular Tautology. Sharing the political because I'm more into game theory. I got to figure out how to play these games again. So I'm gonna be over here practicing while I'm sharing some of the political ideologies of my fellow Gen Xers. Um, I think she's Seba. She got to be Gen X too. But so yeah, we'll get more into more Detroit HP, and then I'll share one more, and then I'll let y'all go do what y'all need to do, and maybe think about some of the things that I presented right here as I continue the conversation about what hip hop culture truly is. Because what I'm really trying to outline is what hip hop culture truly is. These are the things that we talk about it as Gen Xers, as being the original creators of it, and I'm trying to present it in a way such that the even the young kids can understand and either say amen and help us join the revolution of truth, love, and courage. So there it is. That's the beginning of the 12 jewels. The 12 jewels are what they are, but they had to start with at least three principles. And truth, love, and courage is the three principles that we chose to use to really, really start to get these virtues together. So there it is. All right. Bear with me. Still trying to figure this out. Let's see here. I'll hit that right there. And then
But you claim to be intelligent. You claim to take a moral high road or some type of superior position morally. But you celebrate obstinance. You celebrate bad behavior. You celebrate intolerance. Like it's nothing. Like you can't see that was a bold move. Because now the story is about Barack laughing and being chummy with Trump while Michelle defiantly stayed home. Really? And a lot of you think she disrespected Trump by not going. She didn't disrespect Trump because Melania was sitting right next to him. Pence's wife was sitting right next to him. Hillary was sitting right next to Bill. Kamala was sitting right next to her husband. They were all present. But Michelle, she looked at the disgruntled left, the Jasmine Crockett's and Ilhan Omar's, Rashida Tlaib, this defiant protest. We're not going to the inauguration. We will not respect the president-elect because we're morally superior. He's a bad man, but he's the president-elect of the United States of America. He won the popular vote, the Senate, the House, the presidency, the Supreme Court. The people voted for him, the American people. This is American politics. You even have people saying, oh, Michelle's not into politics. She was definitely into politics. She campaigned hard and talked about Trump like a dog. And it was politics. A lot of you believed the narrative that was coming out of the left. Y'all believed that there was fascism going on. Y'all believed the rhetoric that they were using to win an election. And you dug your heels in front of the world. See, this is a global society. The internet has made it even more informative about what's going on in other countries. And you celebrate Michelle A black woman defiantly not standing with her man. Or maybe her man is weak. Is that the narrative? That she's stronger than her man. She's Medea. She's sister girl magic. She's the stereotype that you uplifted when you wanted to put in a cause playing chameleon as president. And you think it's a good look. And you celebrate it. How many of you out there really wouldn't stand with your man? If your man was a drug dealer and you knew it, and he bought you all kind of Birkin bags and purses, and when he went to jail, would you immediately leave and find you another man? Or what if you made more money than your man? Would you look down on it and talk to him reckless and crazy and say that you were the breadwinner? Would you usurp his authority? Because going with Barack and showing the united front was way more important than her dislike for Donald Trump. Think about that. Now, my second story, or the story I want to get into, is from, I'm going to react to Meechie X. How many of y'all out there know Meechie X? Meechie X is from Detroit. And Meechie X has been vlogging and been an activist for a minute. And I want to show you this story that she's doing about how the immigrants are protesting, saying they won't go. No matter what, they won't go. But these liberals, they let them into this country by the millions. And when they came across that border, they came to our communities. Not only did they come to our communities, taking jobs and resources, they came bringing narcotics that was so strong and so cheap and so accessible that thousands of people lost their lives to drug overdose. And they saying that they won't go. They're protesting in Chicago against Black Chicago citizens' interests, refusing to go. And these liberals on the left are emboldening them. Look at what they're finding out about who's lighting fires. Look at what's really going on. And think about it. Now, without further ado, I'm going to get into this clip. Shout out to Meechie X. This is for fair use since the 1976 Copyright Act, education and commentary, and the First Amendment. Let's look at this.
Calling this, I guess, the Kitchen Chronicles. I have been on my computer all day, so the last place I want to be right now is on that big ass computer with lights and cameras all in my face, trying to make professional videos. I feel like I can get the point across without all of that. Okay, so we're gonna do this shit right here in the kitchen, okay? Because I gotta eat dinner. But y'all, so now, I mean, we got a lot of shit going on, but on top of all of this shit going on, we got these immigrants, okay? They out here protesting, y'all. They got the nerve in Fresno to be protesting.
Hundreds coming out demanding an end to deportation operations. Many doing it on behalf of others fearing a similar fate.
I've personally gone to work, picked fruit at the fields with my mom, so I see the hard work that they put every single day out there, whether it's cold or hot, and I know how much being here means to them.
While there were waves of support, some were not so friendly, but the main focus for many during the demonstration was staying at ease.
They are in Chicago protesting.
Right now in Pilsen, many people brave the cold to protest Donald Trump's plan for mass deportation of migrants. As Sade Gray tells us tonight, they want to send a message not only to the president-elect, but to local leaders as well.
The administration of President-elect Donald Trump says they will focus on Chicago to initiate raids and deportation of undocumented immigrants. That's why more than 50 organizations have gathered here in Pilsen to send a message. And you know, they coming for Chicago. The Borders are said that's the first place that he is going. And people are really upset in Chicago and are really welcoming that, right? That's actually something that they want. This is the voice of what the people have to say in Chicago.
You all stood up there and said you would not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. You campaigned and doubled down that you would not raise property taxes.
I won't raise your property taxes.
You wanted to raise our taxes $300 million. They shut it down. Now we back here for $150 million. Okay. See, this is what we asking now. Since you want to crash out, some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example of this Negro right here first. Please come here first. Because you know what? We're going to help you. We want a forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second. Stop her time. Stop her time. Just a second. Stop her time. Ma'am, I would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking, you have to make sure that your language is appropriate, okay? All right. Okay, you can begin her time again.
You're going to spend our tax dollars to go, Michael Rodriguez, you said to take Trump to court to protect these illegals. That's cool because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is how it's going to ride? I think not.
Mr. Brandon Johnson, I'm up here. I am speaking right now, so I will love your undivided attention, please. I'll wait. So this just proves to you the lack of leadership that you show in this city. You can't even give me straight eye contact. Now, I'm going to let you know now, the people of Chicago, we're done with you. It is insane how we have been voting Democrat for over 60 plus years, and we've never seen a change from people like you, Lori Lightfoot, Robbie Manuel. It is insane. Chicago was 37% red. In 2020, it was only 15%. So we're waking up. So you can pretend that this isn't happening, but I know for a fact that you will not have that seat the next election.
You so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens. I got a great way how we can what we can do with this budget. First, let's start with cutting off illegals, getting free everything. Free housing, free schooling, free food. Yeah, let's start with that. That'll save us a lot of money. What, $600 million? Let's start there. Then let's start with your salary.
At Harbor Freight, we design.
And I messed up with the I meant to mute my mic. So I'm probably going to get an echo on that. These are all test runs anyway, right, that I'm running right now. My apologies on that. I'm surprised I didn't laugh when she called him a Negro. Because a lot of people don't understand what that term is actually. It somehow got related to the N-word. But today, what that term means is that you're a slave to the Spanish language or to the immigrants, right? That's the meaning behind it now. Come turn of the previous century, in 1900 to the 2000s, when we had great Negro leaders or black leaders like Frederick Douglass, like Carter G. Woodson, and Booker T. Washington. They referred to themselves as, Negro, the Negro race. Black is a new term. That's what Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Kwame Ture, came together. And those are our three, leaders of hip-hop community, of hip-hop culture. Those are the three that we give credit to. It wasn't until recently that, hey, well, that's being black radical like Kwame Ture, aka Stokely Carmichael. So you get some hypocrites like John McWhorter, for example, who wrote a book talking about wokeism. And there's no hate towards him. He's an educated Negro. He's what Carter G. Woodson was trying to warn us of. The W.E. Du Bois, which was the beef all the way back then in the 1920s or whatever, right? Of hey, we should change sides to the Democratic Party, and hence that's when the NAACP came about, and that's where the term colored people came about. And we were black. As we're black, even he wrote the book Souls of Black Folk, and that's one of the books that I've been sharing. It was his sociological analysis using psychology and philosophy to explain why the souls of black folk. Like he's one of the first black socialists, right? But he was a person of color is what we use now, and therein is where the immigrants is getting involved, and then saying that's where the black culture came from. When it's like, nah, it's hip hop culture. We came together, you know what I mean? But no, we were hip hop culture before the KRS Ones and Boogie Down Productions and Rakim. They'll even admit it, because we was in the basements, jamming to James Brown, throwing up fists, talking about I'm black and I'm proud. That's what hip hop came from, and that's why I'm presenting it in the way that I am. It's not hate towards Elvis Presley. Chuck D was saying that facetiously. Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant to me straight up racist. The sucker was simple and plain. Forget him, Anton Wayne, right? And now that's the black radical, and it was the same as him and Ice Cube saying burn Hollywood, burn. It was talking about metaphorically we need to build our own, just like they burnt down Tulsa, Oklahoma. We build our own, and then what they're going to do? They're going to come and burn it down again, and that's what we're saying. It's we just build it. And watch, they're going to come try to burn it down again. But now they don't even have to burn it down. They just have to defund you. See, that's what we've been experiencing the past 4 years is defund fatherhood, defend black manhood, they've been attacking manhood and defunding it. It affects white people too. Hence, they couldn't wait to get Joe Biden out of there. And now the black family is completely destroyed. And the last episode, the last one I'm gonna share is Selby. I'll talk more about it a little later, because I ate up my idea, but I'm sharing her because she did what I did, but a little different. I slotted mine a little different. In 2016, I voted for Jill Stein. 2020, I was like, oh well, he's already the president, so I'm gonna vote for Trump again. I'm not again, but I'm gonna vote for Trump. Let's finish it out, and then 4 years from now, which is supposed to be now, 2024, we'll figure out the next president person that we can do to finally help out foundational black American. But no, right? We had to deal with Biden for the past 4 years. That's why I couldn't. Of course, I'm gonna vote for Trump. I'm not gonna vote for her. That's voting for Biden again, right? Even though she was trying to wink, but as you can see, the first part that I shared was Michelle Obama. The intentions of black women I don't have to do what my husband says. And now how is he supposed to be the lordship if the ladyship isn't there to support his lordship, to support his kingdom? I'll answer that for y'all another time, but let me share this next video real quick. I keep taking my glasses off too. So let's see here. Let's block that out. Let's go right into it.
So, President Biden has issued his farewell address, but before doing so, he made sure to make it clear to everybody that he should be the one to get credit for the ceasefire, which is exactly what we predicted would happen, right? Like he's just going to pretend like Trump wasn't a part of this. And for the newbies, I always got to say this because people will take things that I say and try to twist it on other shows. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Kamala. I voted for Jill Stein. I don't support Trump or Kamala Harris. Making that very clear. That being said, we cannot ignore the fact that Donald Trump was the one that put that pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu, which basically exposed what we have said all along, which is that Biden and Harris could have done this a long time ago, and that would have actually saved lives. But it wasn't really about that. I told you before that at the end of the day, if it wasn't for the public outcry across the globe, the massive protests, that Biden and Harris would have continued this genocide with no questions asked. The only reason they even felt pressured to give some type of a statement or to pretend like they cared about the Palestinian people was because of the massive outcry. So don't get it twisted. When you hear this announcement from him or from Trump, it's not that they care about the Palestinian people. It's more so that, okay, they feel this has kind of run its course. We got to do something because everybody's breathing down our necks, right? So it's that type of thing. So here is Joe Biden here. He's explaining the ceasefire and the hostage release agreement between Israel and Hamas. There's Blinken behind him, and of course, Kamala Harris. By the way, there were a number of people who told me when I reported this on Tuesday that there was a ceasefire in the works. They told me that this wasn't real. No one had agreed. That was false, of course. Hamas already agreed to the ceasefire. Israel was the one to, of course, back out. We'll get into that in another story. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Joe Biden trying to take the credit.
Good afternoon. It's a very good afternoon. Because at long last, I can announce a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached between Israel and Hamas. More than 15 months of conflict that began with Hezbollah's brutal massacre on October the 7th. More than 15 months of terror for the hostages, their families, the Israeli people. More than 15 months of suffering by the innocent people of Gaza. Fighting in Gaza will stop, and soon the hostages will return home to their families. The elements of this deal were what I laid out in detail this past May, which was embraced by countries around the world and endorsed overwhelmingly by the UN Security Council. The deal is structured in 3 phases. Phase 1 will last 6 weeks. It includes a full and complete ceasefire, withdrawal of Israeli forces from all the populated areas of Gaza, and the release of a number of hostages held by Hamas, including women and elderly and the wounded.
Let me pause here for a second. For those just joining, I just want to remind you, this is the same deal that was proposed back in May. So this isn't a new agreement. This is what was already out there, already proposed, which again goes to show you, had he have put that pressure on Netanyahu, and you don't put pressure on a war criminal and a monster like Netanyahu by continuing to give him the weapons to continue to kill the Palestinian people. That's not how you put pressure on someone. So even though Joe Biden, they came up with a ceasefire deal back in May, obviously Israel knew they didn't have to accept it because they were still giving them weapons. You see what I mean? So think about that for a second.
And I'm proud to say Americans will be part of that hostage release in phase 1 as well. And the Vice President and I cannot wait to welcome them home. In exchange, Israel released hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. And during phase 1, the Palestinians can also return to their neighborhoods.
So this is the first time you actually hear them mention the Palestinian prisoners, whereas independent media has been talking about that for quite some time. and they have to mention them because that is a part of the agreement. So you see what I mean? That's what I was trying to tell you guys. This whole, effort from Hamas, it was to exchange hostage for hostage. Now, they call them prisoners. A lot of those people that are in the prison in Israel, Palestinian people, some of these people were taken, against their will. There was no trial. So there wasn't like they went to a court, hearing and they said determined that you're guilty or innocent. There was none of that. They just grab people out of their homes and they imprison them, including children. And sometimes what they would do, if the person they were looking for wasn't present at the home, they would just take someone else in their place. So I consider those people to be hostages too.
All areas of Gaza. And the surge of humanitarian assistance into Gaza will begin. And the innocent people can have a greater access to these vital supplies. During the next 6 weeks, Israel will negotiate the necessary arrangements to get phase 2, which is a permanent end of the war. Let me say it again, a permanent end of the war. There are a number of details to negotiate to move from phase 1 to phase 2, but the plan says if negotiations take longer than 6 weeks, the ceasefire will continue as long as the negotiations continue. I've spoken to the Emir of Kuwait and the President of Egypt, and we have pledged to make sure the negotiations will keep moving forward for as long as it takes. Then, when phase 2 begins, there will be an exchange for release of the remaining living hostages, including male soldiers, and all remaining Israeli forces will be withdrawn from Gaza, and the temporary ceasefire will become permanent. And finally, phase 3, any final remains of hostages who have been killed will be returned to their families, and a major reconstruction plan for Gaza will begin. This is the ceasefire agreement I introduced last spring. Today, Hamas and Israel have agreed to that ceasefire agreement.
So I just want to say that Hamas agreed to the agreement back then. And Antony Blinken and other pundits on corporate media continued to say, oh, Hamas rejected the deal. It was always Israel rejecting it over and over again. But of course, they have to lie because they want you to believe that Israel is the one that's trying to make things right, which obviously anyone with a brain knows that that is not true. There was another part here where someone did ask this question. I thought it was kind of funny. Let me bring this up here. They are asking Joe Biden. It's a reporter who says, who deserves the credit for this, you or Trump? So that's the question that they're asking them. Watch this.
Thank you. Most credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump? Is that a joke? Oh, thank you.
See?
I have to find a babysitter.
And that was Savvy Sabs. And like I was saying, I'm really game theory over here. I'm really about playing video games, board games. I'm gonna start doing more chess videos, things of that nature. But I am supposed to be informed about, or I'm supposed to be studying the artifacts, which are the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And the other, amendments. So we're supposed to be informed on these things, and I should be having conversations with my 13-year-old son is supposed to be learning these things in school, right or wrong. So I get a little confused when people talk about some, don't talk about history, don't talk about politics, don't talk about, religion. They'll tell me that I'm not listening, and it's like, no. I listen religiously, right? And then I run back to tapes of exactly what they said. Then they're confused because you just said that. And then if it goes against the 10 Commandments, right? Then they want to judge me against my 10 Commandments against me, and it's two quote unquote gay guys adopting 2 boys and getting 100 years in jail, and then I'm not supposed to talk about it, or me talking about it makes me homo, trans, or xenophobic, and the irony of psychological awareness and what I need to be doing, and et cetera, when it's always been my land. Are you starting to understand why we throwing shoes at the mayor of Chicago? Or are you starting to understand why we didn't, the fellows didn't vote for Kamala? Not because we're misogynistic. We didn't vote for her because she wasn't standing on her own 2 feet. She has to be able to stand on her own 2 feet. Now, yeah, she's looking around and she's seeing, and she's even giving looks that Barack stabbing her in the back. We've been telling y'all the game since day one, and it was time for her to if it was time for her to switch it up, she should have switched it up. Ben switched it up, right? Instead, she was following the footsteps of Trump, repeating everything that he said. Opportunity economics. He said that back in 2020. He called it the Platinum Plan. He was supposed to break off black people with $500 billion that y'all done gave to Ukraine to continue the war against Russia. We just trying to play Tetris. But I'm gonna continue to break it down for you, because Biden said it all and she said it all way back in 2020, when he was the president-elect, when talking to the Black Caucus. Irony that sharing the Black Caucus now, they looking like the sellouts, right? Especially Obama. Because we really talking about one God, our Father, the art of time, hip-hop life, love one. That's the real code. Is it the beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code? I guess so. It's basic. B1. But G1 comes before B1. That's God first. God is love. Hip-hop is life. Time, that's holy. Start appreciating it. And stop falling for money. Because that's nothing more than a 4th dimensional illusion that doesn't really exist. You see, economics is the art of making the most out of life. Repeat it again. Hit the rewind button. That's what we do. That's what we do when we listen to real hip hop, right? After Black Thought said, "My cranium is vibranium. My brain is of uranium and titanium." I had to hit the rewind button. Like, all right, I gotta practice a little bit. Tariq done stepped his game up. He think he black. He think he the Black Panther now. Shout out to the Roots. Shout out to all the crew. You know what I mean? This is Uptown. I'm not in Uptown right now, but I'll be back for, maybe tomorrow, because, the Eagles play tomorrow. I'm hoping to have this up by then. I'll probably just chill at home. Just do what I do. Have fun, enjoying life. Go Eagles. Let's try to make it back to the Super Bowl. And for all of y'all out there that's doubting the skills, y'all know I'm keeping it real. We'll be back with more freedom, justice, and equality. Yeah, we putting that diversity, equity, and inclusion to the side because they want to put illegals ahead of us and ask us to keep boosting them up when our families is breaking apart. Nah, we don't live like that no more. All right, we gonna keep on practice that intelligent movement, that real hip hop, that potential turning into kinetic energy. You know what I mean? The epistemology, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Subtraction of a negative is logically equivalent to addition. If you listen, I'm spitting hieroglyphics. Not hating on the Isis or the Osiris. Don't stop fronting on the Horus like the Messiah can't be enlightening. You know what I mean? We not caught up no more. We understand the Italian isn't the first Jesus. But he is us. I'll rap to y'all later. Peace.